I'm in London.
Okay, perfect, brilliant. So just to kind of start off with, do you have a standout, a look that you thought, yes?
I have two standouts. Zendaya in Valentino Couture. I thought she looked absolutely phenomenal. And also Carey Mulligan in her huge, socially distancing safe Valentino Couture skirt. And I loved Chloe Zhao. She just looked like her. That's for the women. Then I've got the men as well.
Okay, cool. Midriffs, both of the Carey Mulligan and Zendaya had the midriffs out, which is a worrying trend for me for the future. But yeah, just talk to me about because so they both had the same designer, so they both had the same kind of cut.
Yeah, there was a lot of cutout detailing last night, and I think it kind of makes sense to me. We've all spent a year essentially hiding away in elasticated waists and jersey, and I feel like there's a real re-emergence in the desire to look sexy and to dress up and you know, stop being so apologetic in our clothing. And this is kind of the archetypal night of glamour, isn't it?
Yeah, it's definitely good. And my first thing when I was watching it was how cold it looked. I noticed that I thought Chloe Zhao was amazing in her trainers, but also Amanda Seyfried on the red carpet admitted she was wearing leggings.
Well, she had a big skirt on as well, and of course, you know, I absolutely love seeing the return of waist down dressing. I'm saying like the revenge of waist down dressing after a year of everyone just seeing this. And of course, we don't know what was under those skirts. Maybe they still did have their tracksuit bottoms on.
Amazing. So as for kind of themes and stuff, you know, color wise, reds, blues and whites seemed quite strong, and then obviously metallics are always a thing. So, but I mean, that's just what we wrote. What did you think about the kind of overall themes of the red carpet dressing?
So I noticed two things really, which was first of all, as I said, like this return of waist down, full look dressing. I think it's the first red carpet that we've seen this award season that it didn't feel like normal, but it felt like if you squinted, it was the closest that we've got to a sort of pre-pandemic red carpet. So two of the things I noticed were as I said, yeah, this full look, and that's something that we've missed this season, and these huge skirts with their epic volumes, which was just great to see. And the other thing I noticed was the Oscars had this quite slightly stuffy, passive aggressive dress code about formal was totally cool if you wanted to go there, but casual was really not. And yet this award season, we have seen a lot of people really leaning into comfort, you know, calling in their pajamas, posh pajamas, but pajamas nonetheless, or hoodies. And I still feel like people were slightly bending the rules and going for a more casual spirit. So we saw that with Chloe Zhao with her trainers, but yet still looking respectful. And Riz Ahmed and Daniel Kaluuya wearing black t-shirts rather than a full tux, you know?
Yeah, there were quite a few of the guys didn't have ties on.
Yeah.
Which you'd think of all the things you wear a tie or a bow tie for, it's the Oscars.
Yeah, but I think as well, it's a funny thing, isn't it? Because we want to dress up. We miss, you know, fashion should be a joy and it should be about self-expression. And we've really missed that this year. Our audience hasn't been there. But at the same time, I think if you're a celebrity on the red carpet, you have to also show this kind of awareness of what's going on, and perhaps going full throttle. As much as we love the fantasy and escapism of the Oscars, one of the most glamorous nights of the year, it doesn't feel quite necessarily right now.
Yeah, very, very good point. Of the people that did kind of go for it, a bit more kind of Hollywood glamour, like you said, with the big skirts, and Amanda Seyfried, and I absolutely loved Regina King with
Oh
her
yeah.
wings. What kind of like who did go kind of Hollywood?
So you get this kind of slightly, you're getting, it's something we've seen all award season where you've had this kind of old, new old Hollywood where people have really been wearing like gowns. And someone I think that did that really well last night was Vanessa Kirby. She wore Gucci, and it, you know, it was a very elegant, you know, the dress only made for Hollywood, really. But again, that had the cutouts, which gave it a slightly more youthful feel. And as I said, Zendaya, I think she really kind of went for it, and there was almost a throwback to kind of vintage Cher at the Oscars kind of vibe. I loved that.
Color wise, Zendaya and Coleman Domingo, they're the two that I feel kind of pushed out there. What did you think of his pink suit?
You know what I'm really excited by at the moment, this award season, is how experimental the men are being. You know, it's something that we saw, for instance, at the Grammys with Harry Styles' feather boas, and we've continued to see people like Dan Levy and all award seasons. So it's fitting to see it here as well, and they're not all being traditional. My favourite men's look of the night was Lakeith Stanfield in the Saint Laurent jumpsuit. Brilliant.
I know, I just took one look at that and I was like, 70s, it looks so cool.
Yeah, I'm just loving seeing the men, you know, pushing the boundaries a bit, being more experimental. It used to be a very sort of one size fits all, you know, they look very dashing and handsome and in their tuxes, but I couldn't tell you particularly a memorable tux from the last however many years.
Very, very true. Um, was there anyone you thought didn't quite get the memo?
No, actually, I didn't. And I also think that something that we've moved towards is, you know, we've moved away from that sort of worst dressed, best dressed thing. And I actually applaud anyone that ever wants to take a risk. And I think a lot of those looks from Oscars past that were sort of condemned to worst dress lists just looked ahead of their time.
Very true. It is, it's very true. People kind of pushing ahead. Uh,
Yeah. Well, one of the really refreshing things that, you know, that's come through this year is this complete re-emergence of personal style, and we've seen a lot of the younger stars across the season. I'm thinking of Emma Corrin, for instance, from The Crown, um, who have really kind of experimented and been a bit more fearless in what they're wearing, and it's really like exciting to watch. A column gown will look lovely, of course, but it can get a bit dull to see the same looks over and over.
and what did you think about the kind of the colours, the kind of blues and whites and reds, like quite bright, traditional? I mean, obviously Zendaya, I feel, was a bit of the exception, and there's always metallics. But I was interested that you know, red, white, and blue were coming through.
Yeah, I'll tell you what I noticed more was the golds. I really noticed them this time. I thought they were the, you know, if you're going to the Oscars, why not pay homage?
to,
Literally.
to the statues.
Yeah.
Amazing. I think Kerry Mulligan is my total favourite. I think.
I
I
thought that was a really great look for her because, you know, she's so elegant and she can, yeah, I thought it was glamorous, but it felt sort of joyful. And actually I think that's something that came through this season. And yeah, what that's kind of modern power dressing, I think, which is perfect for the film that she was in.
and kind of going back to Zendaya, you know, the color was interesting. She had the cutout. I mean, I've never seen her look bad ever. I always think she looks amazing, and obviously her stylist is incredible.
Yeah,
Um, but I do think that she stood out compared to everybody else.
yeah, it was a much, well, it was a much smaller event this time. She does. She does. She always does. She's, you know, she's fearless. She's confident. And you mentioned her stylist, Laura Roach, and together you get the impression of how much they enjoy fashion. And you know, she kind of represents that desire. I think a lot of us have. We're probably not going to put on a really bright Valentino couture dress to when we re-emerge, but we're bored of hiding, and you know, it's been a really weird year for fashion. I think it's an absolute delight to see people like her who really are enjoying it and embracing it.
Amazing. I think that's great. I think we've got lots of stuff in there that we can work with. I did want to talk to you about Alber, by the way. I was really shocked.
Yeah,
And how, I mean, it's just a huge influence, but how influential was he?
He was hugely influential, and he will be enormously missed. It's not just a loss for the people that knew him and loved him, but for the industry. He'd only just returned with AZ Factory after a hiatus since he left Lanvin, and there was so much excitement about him being back. You know, his clothes showed a deep respect and love for women. He was interested in giving women what he called solutions. I spoke to him earlier this year, and you know, he wanted to make women's lives easier, and he was sort of miffed by how we punish ourselves often. And there's beautiful kind of generosity to his designs, and that's not to say they weren't without fantasy, but they functioned sort of, they worked with us rather than against us. And yeah, it's shocking and heartbreaking. He's one of the industry's most loved people as well, I have to say.
Yeah, I was going to say the man himself. He was lovely.
Yeah, a really lovely, warm, generous soul.
And his when he was at Lanvin, did you say Lanvin or Lanvin? Because
Lanvin.
Yeah, it's one of those words that anyway.
Yeah, no, I got stuck with someone's name this morning, and in Venture I had to say, you have to say it, because
yeah. What did he bring when he was there? Because I've always felt like you could kind of look at their designs and see kind of his touch to them.
It was sort of, there was a sensuality and a romance without being twee, and I feel like they were also kind of intellectually and technically rigorous, and for something to appear kind of effortless and to feel effortless when you wear it actually takes a lot of skill. And as I said, I mean, I feel like his clothes, wherever he was, were a love letter to women.
Perfect. Thank you. It's horrible to.
You're very welcome.
Thank you very much for talking to me. If I need you for any other kind of fashion things, can I drop you a line? I know obviously Kenya and Jess have to say the full sign off and everything.
My absolute pleasure to do
it. It's really nice to see you. It's been so, I feel like it's been like an age since I was in Camden.
Where are you now?
I'm West Kensington. So yeah, I just haven't been anywhere near there.
No, I've actually started going back 2 days a week.
Have you? Okay. I think we're going to start doing that. We've got a kind of, we're all supposed to be back in September, like full, everybody back, but we're trying to work out how to do that and stuff. And
I don't think we'll ever go back.
Really?
Full time.
Really?
I'm not sure. I'll do everything I can, because I'm so sick of my flat.
It's gorgeous. I love it. The paintings are gorgeous.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I'm not far away. I'm in Hampstead. So
oh, right. Yeah.
I can walk down there. So that's kind of why it works for me, you know?
Yeah. It's just sometimes I don't like getting on the tube, not when it's super busy. It's just a bit. But yeah, I've commissioned a painting to go here because I was really sick of this wall.
Yeah, totally.
But thank you very much for talking to me.
You're
Lovely
so
to
welcome.
see you. All right.
I'm always happy to do it, but yeah, I know, like, you know, it's always nice to ask Kenya as well.
Yeah. Perfect. Oh, and I just wanted to check.
Mhm.
Is it okay if we call you Grazia Fashion News Director, or do we need to have the and features as well in there?
I mean, my whole thing together is all quite long because it's
Yeah.
really Antonia Jordan,
Yeah.
News and Features Director. Um, Preferably, I would have the full title,
Okay.
but I understand if that's not possible. But yeah, ideally, the sort of, I think the understanding that I can do these things is if everything's
Whole thing. Yeah, no, that's fine. No, it was just whether just adding in the and features just makes it a little bit longer, because obviously the reason we're talking to you is the fashion news kind of bit. And do you want Antonia in there as well? Yeah, perfect.
yeah, the Antonia is basically even it gets left off here sometimes, and I say, like, I basically use it because there's another Laura Jordan writer who is I believe she writes porn books.
Amazing.
So I, like, you know, that Antonia has been in my family for like 200 years or something. So
Wow.
yeah.
Okay, cool. Yes, we'll make sure we do that. That's fine. We'll use full for both. It was just whether if we took the and features out, I'm thinking of the slate along the bottom, but it's fine. We can definitely do everything. But thank you very much.
You're so yeah, and it's Grazia UK, obviously.
Yeah, no
Just
worries.
will be fine. Anyway, thank you so much.
All right, no worries.
See
Take
you.
care.